like you to be very clear on why we are meeting today. Talking about a dream presentation is not giving us a memo. So I'd like you to tell us why we gathered today so that we can know what we are adopting and what we are not adopting. Is this in order?
I'm the ACC Karen. ACC stands for Assistant County Commissioner. So you are welcome. We welcome you all. We need your views, opinions, and ideas regarding why we are here today. I think it's not the first time. We had the same, I think 2 years ago, right? I think if I'm not wrong, it's 2 years ago. Yes, we had such kind of a meeting in St. Cross Towers. I was equally around that time, and we have deliberated, we have talked, we have discussed. But now again, we are given another opportunity. Maybe there was a lapse somewhere, maybe there was an oversight, maybe there's something that we have forgotten, and we need now at least to fill that gap. That's why we are here. So, welcome. Let us have a healthy deliberation. This is a government project. It will also help us. It will help the community, and also, by and large, the current community. So we'll be privileged to have this kind of project within our area, because maybe other people or other places have not benefited. So there's a special way why maybe this is now given to us. So let's accept it. Let us give very good guidance, and experts are here. You are all stakeholders. This project is ours, and then at least let us have one decision going forward. So thank you so much. Welcome all. Feel at home. What was Serike? What you wafurahi? Let's be happy. Whatever we are having here, bringing here is our project. So tutaongea, tutaona pengine ile ambayo mahali iko kasoro tutatengeneza. Sorry, I'm talking in Kiswahili, and I don't know maybe others whether they understand. I'm saying maybe where we have shortfalls, we are here right now to amend. Because this is not the first time we are sitting for this project. It's again coming back. So next time, let it not come back. Let it go well with our opinion, positively. Thank you so much. Karibuni sana.
Thank you. I think now I can say why we are here. We are here, one, as I said, for stakeholder engagement, for the purpose of the project that had been initiated, that is the construction of Lirutagong to Kiserian or Gatarugai project. There has been a journey in terms of this project since the first time the project was conceived. The project was first of all conceived in the year 2019 when we undertook a master plan for the Nairobi metropolitan area commuter rail operations, where we had a master plan study. I think it started from December 2015. It was a 2-year study that mapped out the corridors. We shall be able to put more information on it. So having said that, I don't know whether at that juncture you would want to make the remarks or we proceed.
Right, so thank you for giving us input and remarks. Let me introduce myself. My name is Peter Kitavi. I serve as the General Manager to Karen Langata District Association, which is an umbrella of a 52 residents association within Karen. It sits at about 14,000 acres of land in Karen area and houses more than 42,000 residents. So to the people who are here, they are representative of the entire number of people who we are speaking on behalf of. All right? Members, are we in agreement? Am I lying? I'm lying. Great. First, to your agenda, I think it's very well known that one of the reasons to just make sure that you're on the same page, we're here to carry out a stakeholder engagement for a pre-feasibility and feasibility study regarding the Kenya Rail. We are not here to do any other thing but carry out a pre-feasibility and feasibility study analysis. Please confirm that with us. Okay. All right. That's all I needed to confirm. And then a bit later we'll give our remarks and I'll be notifying you that we have a few representatives who will be speaking on behalf of all the members. Asanteni.
Okay. I don't know whether there is any other formal group that wanted the remarks, to give remarks or introduction. I don't know whether there is any other representative, that formal group that wanted to speak and give remarks before we start, apart from the umbrella represented by KLDA. Yeah, you can come. Are they part of KLDA?
I think let us have some order. Number one, we know KLDA is representing entire Karen, right? Whether Kerarapon, whether. So you are represented KLDA. So Matatu owners, if we have border, if we have business community, if we have any other stakeholder within Karen present, then kindly introduce yourself. I know the house is full with KLDA, right? So any other representation, because your views have been aired. Thank you.
Yeah, you can have him make remarks.
Mjambo. Kwa majina mimi naitwa Jackson Mwaura. Kwa majina ni Jackson Mwaura, representing Rankana Sacco and the other 5 circles that operate within Karen, having a bus station just next to roundabout ya Karen. Thank you.
Thank you. I think we'll go straight to our presentation. I don't know. Any other representation? I thought I only saw him. Any other? So I think that's it. So we can proceed. But if they come, we shall still give them an opportunity. So one, I just want to just give a general overview of Kenya Railways. That Kenya Railways deals with the development of rail and the operations of the same in terms of the entire country. Of course, going down, of course, we move both the freight and the passengers. But for the particular case here, we have within our network, a network where we have a railway network that moves passengers within Nairobi metropolitan area. The Nairobi metropolitan area covers the 6 counties in no particular order. I will start with the eastern ones, the one from the eastern side. That is Kajiado, where we start our services on. So that is Kajiado County, where we start our operations on line 3. Then we come to Nairobi, of course being centrally, where most of our networks did. Then we have also Machakos, where a portion of it within Syokimau area, within the Raja Mororongo explain that schematic map of the network in terms of the meter gauge network. This one, let me come near it. So basically this one being the trunk, of course starting from the port of Mombasa, going all the way to our border town in Maraba. That is what we regard as the main line. But on it, of course, there are various branch lines, with the first one being at Voi Taveta. Then we have these others, the one at Konza, the one that goes to Nanyuki, the one at Girgir. This is at Nakuru, the one that goes to Kisumu. And of course, at the end of Kisumu, there is the one that extends all the way to Butere. So our focus for this one, it is the Nairobi metropolitan area, which is basically a radius here of maybe 30 kilometer radius is where Nairobi commuter rail operations is done. Let's proceed to the next one. So, as I explained, we started the commuter operations sometimes in the year 1992, because previously we were dealing with long distance passenger services. But due to the then challenge that arose in the country with regard to lack of daily transport, I think at that year there was a strike, or the Matatu strike, and then Kenya Railways started now moving commuter operations or carrying commuter operations within Nairobi on a day-to-day basis. So in the year 2015, through a program that was called the National Urban Transport Improvement Program, NUTRIP, which was financed by both GOK with the support from World Bank, we did carry a master plan, and that is the master plan we are calling Nairobi Master Plan of 2019, and this is where now the dream or the formalization of the various corridors in terms of implementation. So at the 8, there are 8 corridors, with the corridor 1 being Nairobi to Limuru. The Nairobi to Limuru being the corridor that I think is the green one, as he is indicating there, from Nairobi through Kibera, Dagoretti, Renana, all the way to Limuru. That is line 1, an approximate length of 57 kilometers. Then we have line 2. Line 2 being the purple one, the one he is indicating there, being the corridor that moves to all the way to Thika. Currently, in terms of operations, in terms of commuter passenger, we go up to Ruiru, which is about 36 kilometers from Nairobi. Then we have line 3. Line 3 being the blue one, that is now part of the main line that goes all the way to the larger Kitengera, a station called Kenya. Then we have line 4. Line 4, it is a proposed corridor that is supposed to serve Jomo Kenyatta International Airport in Nairobi. So that is the extension that is shown there. Just to put in context, in the year 2012 or 2011-2012, that's when the earlier proposal to take the line to Jomo Kenyatta was conceived. However, due to issues of budget and all that, it was to be done in phases, and that's how we commissioned the first station towards that side, called Syokimau Station, within the larger Embakasi area. It was not supposed to be a terminal station in terms of operation. It was supposed to cross Mombasa Road, go all the way to the airport. That dream or that vision has still remained. So in terms of even the master plan, that's why it is like that. By then, the corridor that had been chosen, it was the same corridor that is serving Nairobi, Makadara, Imaldaima. When you come at Nairobi terminus, that is where through the pipeline estate, the highlights one, and then goes crosses the Outer Ring Road near the former area where was a mall called Taj Mall, goes all the way to Embakasi village, and it terminates just before you cross, that is Eastern Bypass, on that side, that is line 5. Then the master plan also conceived another line, line 6, which is an extension of the line to be able to serve the towns or the larger settlement area of Utawara and Ruai. That is line 6. Then we have a line 7 in terms of proposal under the master plan, which is a line proposed to serve the larger Kiabu area. That is Kiabu town, the area to do with the Degua, Widsa, and all that neighborhood. Then come line 8. Line 8 being now the line that directly affects this community, because there's a line that is supposed to operate from Nairobi, passing through Kibera. In terms of operation, Nairobi, Kibera, Dagoretti, and then takes off from the main line somewhere between near Nana High School, and then proceeds all the way to Gong. Then proceeds also and serves the route towards Kiserian. That is Gong, Kiserian. Then a loop to Ogatarugai. And then that lady loop goes loud to go back to Nyayo Stadium or Kibera or thereabout. So this map as shown there is the map that was generated as a 2030 core scenario for implementation of what was brought forward in terms of planning by the master plan. Because the master plan conceived three options, with the first option being what was referred as quick win, or modernization of the existing network just to stabilize the track, acquire more rolling stock to be able to at least bring the service back to good standing. By that time, that is 2017, 2018, on a daily basis, Nairobi commuter network entire was serving approximately 10 to 12,000 passengers per day as of 2019. So that is the map. So there was now the quick win solution, which was supposed to be implemented within 3 years, 0 to 3 years in terms of implementation. Then there was now the 2030 core scenario, which conceived the networks that were existing, all the other lines were existing at the now line 8. So line 8, the Riruta Gong, was brought forward for purposes of implementation. I first of all clarify, the nomenclature of 1, 2, 3, 4, and 8 has nothing to do with the terms of numbers and all that in terms of priority. It is basically geographically how we positioned, because we positioned the one to Limuru being line 1, and we then went to the one for Thika being line 2, 3, 4, and 5. So the nomenclature has nothing to do with the prioritization. Prioritization was everything to do with the traffic modeling that had been done. So that's how line 8 was brought in to be within the 2030 core scenario. So it is envisaged that by 2030, that network ought to be operational. So the total network would be approximately 165 to 170 kilometers, depending on the implementation of the detailed design. Then thereafter, there was now the larger scenario which was to be implemented from, we would say long term, by in terms of the master plan. It was now post 2030, 2035. In terms of this study, the horizon was the year 2045. So it was envisaged that beyond this, they will do other networks to be able to move the numbers. So that is the genesis of the project. Proceed. Now, having said now that, in terms of now, of course, the ideal situation in terms of how it is conceptualized, the master plan, several interventions need to be done to bring on board or to bring those numbers, because it was envisaged that once we are able to do all these, we should be able to move approximately on a day-to-day basis by the year 2030, about 100 to 120,000 passengers per day within Nairobi commuter, if all the other interventions are done. One of the interventions that were there was, of course, the upgrade of the track itself, because the existing one had challenged the track. The other aspect is the rolling stock, that is the trains for in terms of operation. And the other one is investment in what we referred as transit-oriented development. That is making sure that our corridors don't just become a transport corridor, but they become economic corridor, whereby we are able to have commercial enterprises within the stations and within the land. Because it is Kenya Railways historically owns a lot of land in terms of the corridor. It was felt that for us to be able to subsidize operations for passenger services, we needed to generate revenue from other areas, because the fares charged on a day-to-day basis for commuter services, or even for long-distance passenger services, for that matter, are not adequate in themselves to finance the operations on a day-to-day basis. So it needs to be subsidized. So more revenue need to be generated through other means. That's the concept of the transit-oriented development. So under that, there is a program still anchored under this called the Nairobi Railway City, which basically, where we have Nairobi Central Station, we have a lot of RAD there. So because all our stations radiate from there, all our corridors radiate from there, we were to redevelop that area so that we give room for regeneration of Nairobi on the eastward side, because the railway line has for a long time acted as a barrier between the western side and the eastern side, whereby the town has not been able to grow towards that side. So based on that, we did carry another feasibility study at a program that was called Nairobi Metropolitan Social Improvement Program, which basically now brought on board how to rebuild that area, which has a total length of approximately 78 acres. To put in context, it is a land between Ladis Road, for those familiar. Basically, you can be putting the cursor. That is now the area we have. Ladis Road is that road that's just behind Mudhurwa Market, and then all the way to Haile Selassie, at the junction between Uhuru Highway and Haile Selassie, then comes back all the way to Bunyara Roundabout, that area. So that red area is the area for the railway city. So predominantly that is land that was owned or is still owned by Kenya Railways. But of course, right now, we may not be controlling 100% of that land there because of other subdivisions. But now in terms of planning, that is an area that is planned. A total area of 480 acres, with the railway of owning about 80% of that parcels of land. So with that, as you can see, let's go back to the map. So that plan now subdivided that area in terms of planning into different zones, in terms of one, an area for operations, still for operations, an area for meetings, incentives at the hospitality, an area for housing, and an area for development of government institutions, what is being referred as government precinct, because of the realization that the government was also renting a lot of space elsewhere. So in terms of redevelopment, that's it. But of key concern for this project or for all commuter operations is this area where currently we do all our train marshalling on this area, which was felt that this area being within Nairobi or within near the CBD, it is what is hampering the development of this area. Currently, we have about 22 lines, but the intention is now to reconstruct that area so that we have lesser lines, and we only deal with the passenger operations here, and then we take freight operations at another place. The key area we are taking operations is some land we have along Jogoo Road in an area called Makadara. So that means there is quite a number of programs that are supposed to be implemented jointly to be able to realize the dream that we have indicated there. So I have said that about that. Then there is another program which is still ongoing, which is also supposed to support the larger now redevelopment of all the commuter lines. That is a program being called Kenya Urban Mobility Improvement Program. Right now, we are at a stage where we are saying we are at a feasibility study at the preliminary design stage for all the lines. That is all the lines that are mapped. That is from line 1 all the way to line 8. The line 8, for purposes of implementation, is subdivided into 3. We have what we call 8A, that is Lenana or Liruta, Gong. 8B being Gong Kiserian, and the 8C being Gong Kiserian, being Kiserian or Gatarogai, are all the way back to Nairobi. So the feasibility study that is underway will also prepare preliminary design for all these corridors, for purposes of implementation. However, under that program, there is a corridor that will be brought forward in terms of implementation, being the corridor line 2. Why line 2? Line 2, in terms of our numbers, is the busiest corridor. That is the line from Nairobi to Thika is the busiest corridor in terms of numbers. Currently, we are moving. Where on, I think our train that moves on that route usually holds a total of 19 coaches. So it's the busiest, followed by line 2, which is Nairobi, Limuru. Then the other corridor in terms of numbers is line 5. Then line 3, and in that order. So in terms of traffic numbers, currently is 2. It is 2, 1, 5, 3. In terms of numbers, the current numbers we are moving. Yes. So I am putting in the context. I wanted to put that in context for this before now we come to the what concerns this community most, being the corridor for line 2. Sorry, not line 2, but the corridor for line 8. So that is the history of those corridors in terms of the numbers. Having said that, now let me go now direct to line 8. I will present 3 scenarios or 3 options that had been studied. In terms of, I will start with the option 1. The option 1 being the option that was firmed up at the 2019 master plan. That option, the line is moving from Nairobi to Kibera, Dagoretti, just before Dagoretti at Lenana. That's why it takes off, and now comes to come to Karen. So after moving from the Karen, it is to pass through KFS LAD. That is that forest. I think is part of the KFS, Kenya Forest Service LAD. Then crosses the southern bypass near the interchange. Maybe you can go back there. Okay, let him project the other one, the one that is on not the PDF, the KMZ one, so that we are able to move along. So, as I have said, that is the option 1, where it had proposed. That is the 2019 option, which was the first option we still considered when now proceeding with this project. So you can see it more or less took off from line 2 in the same area. This is the larger Lenana school. The larger Lenana school and all that. This is the Gado area. So the point of connection is actually approximately 600 meters from the gate of Lenana High School. So going through KFS, just go. So you can see the area proposed, the option 1. That is okay. Maybe when there later on, the option that we have been implementing on the ground is of course this one, this route. Of course, it slightly departs from option 1 in some areas, but I will be able to explain the rationale for that. So the first option was now to cross through the eastern bypass along that area, move along Gong Road or the right-hand side, move along the same corridor the same way all the way to Karen roundabout. Still, when you are at the Karen roundabout where we are, it was supposed to be on the left-hand side, basically affecting all the premises that are on this side. Going along, that is the Karen police station. Going along, just proceed. Then I may not know the real name of that area, but you can see now from that area, it was departing from the corridor, from the road corridor, majorly, and the proceeding internally. Proceeding all the way there is because mainly, of course, at that juncture, the road corridor meanders a lot. There's a lot of curvature. So that was the option 1. in terms of development. I think that is Kerala-Pond area. No, that the road there. Then this one is the Bulbul area. So you can see that option was placing the corridor on the road when you are go back to Bulbul. When you are here at Bulbul, we are on the frontage, not like the option 3, which which is the corridor we have been implementing. And I think that is where now at the juncture that we got the court injunction. That was option 3, and it is at the back. At that area of Bulbul, sorry, at this area, the option 3, what we are implementing, was at the back here, and then proceeding, and then crossing this is the SGR, just crossing just before we go to the Gong Tunnel, and the proceeding all the way through that vet farm area, all the way, proceed, just proceed up to the end of that. So that was the scenario, or as the farmed up option for option 1 at the Nairobi master plan. So if you open the 2019 master plan, that is the version that was there. So now, when we came now to prioritize this corridor, we again had to come and review that corridor in terms of other aspects, including aspects of now affecting the community. And the aim was we make sure that the impacts are mitigated. And as you can note, apart from where it was going through the road corridor, there is a portion where it was going much inside on the property. And we felt that option was bringing more impact to the community because the proposal was it to be on the surface. So that meant if it is on the surface, it would have meant, but of course, wherever we have the road, crossing a road, of course, we would have to put other passes and all that. But largely, the other area was to be on surface, on an embankment. And we felt that that would create more barriers or more impact to the community. That's how, so let's go to option 2. When you are still there, option 2, in terms of the corridor, it did not depart much from option 1 in terms of affecting these corridors. Just go back all the way to there. Here, the major difference between option 2 and the option 3, which we shall put later on, was at this juncture we slightly pulled the line backwards. So it is crossing this one within the actual interchange. I think if somebody has seen there is some holding that had been done there, we were doing the piling works for the viaduct. And this option, those two options initially had the line on the surface, more or less. And that's why, but after Bulbul, just go beyond Bulbul, beyond KBC. Yeah, at this juncture, there were two scenarios in terms of now how to close the SGR on this area. Because here the road is under, and we are above on it. So there was now considerations of whether we close the SGR line at this area on top or whether we go under. And there was even that option, that option of pursuing whether we do a tunnel so that we exit towards Gong. Because the other challenge that we have is on the larger Gong, Gong town, how to proceed beyond Gong town to serve the other areas, given the nature of development that is within Gong town. So those are the two options in terms of option 1, option 2. Only differing in terms of option 2, differing with the option 1, majorly just between KBC, the larger KBC at the Gong, at the terms of the crossing scenario. Now we come to the last option. That is the option that we have been implementing, and this is the option that eventually As some of the stakeholders were not yet convinced. And I think that's when the petition to the court and all that came on board. And by the time we got the court injunction, that is the corridor we were implementing. Do you? Okay. Now, so now again, in terms of where now it starts at a station called Satellite. I know there are those who are calling it Riluta and all that, but it is Satellite. If you just go back, you can see just to appreciate the road, the Gong Road. Race course. This is Talanta Stadium. This is just go back a little bit. Yes, just to appreciate. So it starts from here, so that it serves this station, so that this station is able to serve this area, the residents of this area, the larger Gado, the larger Satellite, and then proceed. Just proceed. So again, so as I have earlier explained, it follows more or less the same path or the same corridor within KFS LAD, and then crosses the Eastern Bypass, and then eventually now on this. Okay, there is another version whereby the viaduct, the viaduct is immediately you are crossing the southern bypass. This is the area. Immediately you are now crossing the southern bypass. You are on a viaduct all the way to past Karen roundabout. Yeah. So even at that juncture, you still come on a viaduct. So the proposal here was that by the time the station at Karen is to be elevated station, because we are on a viaduct, so the station is elevated. Then after crossing, how we came we settled on this is because Kenya Urban Roads Authority, they have their own plans in terms of extension of the dualling of this road all the way to Gong. And there is a design where they had for an interchange here at Karen roundabout. So we harmonized their design with our design to ensure that we do not affect the future implementation of the road. And that's how we ended up having or proposing the current station to be elevated. Then let's proceed beyond Karen. Maybe you can. Okay, so when we are there, I think that is the area where we have, I think it's a medical facility that is allowed there. Just after that, the line goes within that large piece of land that is there, but it now moves on the left-hand side. And then that is which road now? By the time, so it comes again now to cross Gong Road. By the time you are approaching Keralapon area, again there is a viaduct there to cross the road, and continuing all the way to that land. I think that is KBC. That is KBC land. Then proceed. No. So at that juncture again now, the key departure is we are not again on the road. We are now at the back at the KBC land, that area where we have the police academy, then crossing the railway track at the existing the SGR line at on a bridge on that area, then proceeding all the way to Karen. By the time we are not Karen, but now Gong. But the time we are at Gong, we are more or less on the surface. So that represents the option 8, the section 8A, which is the section that was at the implementation at this stage. So that is the corridor. In terms of the rolling stock for operating on this network, the policy now is that we'll electrify the corridor, all the corridors for purposes of operation.
The plan study of 2019, the pursuit of all modes of transport within the urban setup to provide the transport needs for the users who are largely workers moving to their workplaces and to their residences. Railway has come in as a critical mode so that you are able to reduce congestion on the road. Ordinarily, whenever you pursue only one mode of transport, for example, road, even if you keep expanding the road, you keep expanding congestion. And that's why you look at a corridor like the one engineer was talking about, line 2. Thika Road is still congested today, even when it has been dual and expanded with multiple lanes. But if you ask people and if you observe that corridor, there is always congestion on the road. And there is also that same congestion is reflected on the railway, because that is the corridor with the highest number of patronage in terms of commuters. And that's why there is also need to continue to expand the capacity and increase the frequency of railway operations within those corridors. It's unfortunate that urban transport in Nairobi, especially for the commuter, was started as an abrupt intervention because of the constraints and disruption by the matatu operators during strikes. And the existing network, the radio network that was presented on the line going to Mombasa, going to Nanyuki, and going towards Malaba, where the initial services commenced, was not originally planned for urban commuter transport. But the anchor operation model is still tied to that, and then now extension to where the demand is coming in from. So we expect people moving to the city and from the city, from their workstation and business centers. So this corridor is supposed to be optimized in terms of both networks, of road transport and also rail transport. So that is largely one of the reasons why the government is pursuing all this multi-approach in terms of optimizing and ensuring that the entire metropolitan area and the studies are integrated and progressed as once. So when you look at the project that are under implementation within the metropolitan area, including the Kenya Urban Mobility Improvement Project, you find you have to study all of that as a system. Just like the study of 2019, you cannot study one corridor because the destination of these passengers, they could be coming from one origin to another destination, which is interconnected. It's not just one. When you study the characteristics, you find somebody is coming all the way from Thika and is going to Ngong or to Ongatarongai. So you have to undertake that study as a network. And the implementation, unfortunately, is what doesn't always happen as a network at once because of the phasing, because the rolling out of implementation is usually a challenge because of the public finance constraints and challenges. So basically, that is what I would wish to add here and allow the next presentation to go briefly, just to give the context of what is intended to be achieved in the larger intentions and plan. So,
presented a video clip of 2 minutes for the people to appreciate an animation of that corridor, of how it had been planned. What we are saying, we have come here to get your views, to get your input, to be able to inform further decision making. Not that we have come here with any decision made, but we are giving the option, of course, where we were, the journey where we were. We are taking on board your comments with a view of implementing. I'm not preempting any comment so far. I just wanted to elaborate on that. So, as I had said, there are several other programs being done together or simultaneously with a view of enhancing the urban transport and the growth of the Nairobi as a metropolitan. So we will do 2 clips. One will be 4 minutes and the other one I think is 2 minutes. So we'll start the one for the railway city. So we wanted we pause at that juncture so that we open the session for discussion in no particular order, as the questions, comments, observations as they will be coming. Then we shall be able to respond and take the input and the comments on board. So I want my colleague to distribute the mic in no particular order. So the floor is open.
Thank you, Kenya Railways, for the beautiful presentation. I appreciate that there's a lot of professionals from Kenya Railway who are here in this meeting. And I think it's interesting because you'll appreciate that there's equally an attendance of professionals in our room as well. So you'll understand that our questions that we're going to present to you are not theoretical. They're also very practical and very well calculated, because as your team of experts have raised those questions, our team of experts have asked to do the same. As I mentioned when we begin, we will like to conduct this as scaled in an orderly manner. So I will invite 3 individuals to speak on our behalf. We will be calling, calling on I'll be calling upon Engineer Peter Ndwati to speak about the operational angle of what you've presented. I'll be calling upon Engineer Mwangi to do a presentation as a summary of all the questions that community members have raised regarding this matter, and then Sean Avery to discuss the matters environmental. But before I do this, I'd like to mention something very clearly. Current residents are not against development, okay? Current residents are accepting development that is orderly, that is constitutionally abiding, and that is done in a legal and rightful way. All right? That's one of the things I'd like to just mention categorically. I'd invite Engineer Peter Ndwati.
Just a 1 minute before he responds. We have an attendance register that we had come with. Our request is you give us permission, you give your details, so that it becomes it's a part of record for any public engagement. So we request, just like we have allowed, or we are recording. There's recording. There's also streaming. If it is possible for the attendees to put their names in the register, if that is in order. We are sure that the information provided will not be used for any other purpose apart from this project. I think that is good to give that assurance. Thank you.
I'll start at the front, just like you. I'm Engineer Peter Ndwati, as introduced by KODA Managing Director. I'm a resident of Karen. I live in Mutero Estate. And I'm also a member of KODA. I'm a retired civil engineer. But during my working life, I did many projects, road projects. I was involved in railway projects. For example, I was part of a team that did the Dar es Salaam road all the way to Rwanda and Burundi. We did a feasibility study with a German company. So I have a little history of the transportation. And before I did that, I worked in City Hall for 10 years. So right at the outset, I was aware of the Greater Nairobi Metropolitan Plan, prepared in 1975. The first mass transport plan for Nairobi was done in 1975. It was never implemented. So I'm aware of the second one, which was a new trip financed by the World Bank, where we moved from mass commuter rail if commuter rail was to be used, it would supplement the BRT. Having said that, we have not been given enough time actually to digest all this information which was just presented now. So my comments will be very preliminary. Let me also add, Mr. Mainga, Engineer Mainga, that I was in KIP when the Nairobi Railway City was conceived, and we actually prepared 3 alternatives for that city with a South Korean consultant. So I'm not entirely ignorant. Now, you have given us fairly good presentation, which would have been very, very good. And I would say we have reached here because over the last 3 years, we have requested detailed information on this project. But this information has not been forthcoming. Mutero and Mohogo Association, and I wrote a letter to Kenya Railways and asked them to give us details of the line and how it will affect our access to Mutero and Mohogo. Now that is 3 years later, we have still never got firm drawings showing how our access will be affected by the railway. So, Engineer Maina, you can see why we are, these people are all here. At a very short notice, you only give us 1 day, but they have come because the project is right in their hearts. In 2024, we prepared a comprehensive letter to Kenya Railways, where we asked details about the railway line, the stations, and all those that are affected by the project. Again, we never received any information. So, it is only after going to court that we have actually been forced to start to look back and see whether we can actually avail information which will support the project, which is very good, but it is not really necessary to go to court to get public information, because public projects are for public good. So when you give the information, it supports you. It is not contradicting you. We are all interested in a good project. And let me say, I have a special interest as an engineer. Although I'm retired, I would have been very happy to be part of the team which designs the project and supervises the project, because that grows the profession. When you are spending 12 billion, we should not just think about the infrastructure. We should also think about the human resource that we are developing, the young engineers that we are going to develop from the project. The economics, that is the first thing. So,
There is a vehicle that is blocking exit. For if it's your vehicle, maybe you go and have it addressed. It's a Nissan. If you are making that vehicle, it is blocking the entrance. KCJ 244. KCJ 244Y.
okay, now I can go straight to your project. If I want to buy a car, I ask many questions. How much money do I have? And will I be able to afford to maintain it? Before I buy a Range Rover, I have to know I'll be able to pay the capital cost, borrow the money, and be able to repay and maintain it. And when I look at my resources, I might find that the Range Rover may not be my car of choice. I may have to go to the Vitz, which I can afford to maintain. I might even find that the Vitz is too much for me. I need to use Uber or Matatu because my resources are limited. If I'm putting a house, the same story goes. The house I'll put in Kibera and Bubu is not the same as I'll put in Muthaiga and Lavington because the demand and the supply are different. The same case applies to public projects. The same feasibility has to be applied to public projects. So, when you come to a public project like the railway which you have, the first question is to ask ourselves, what is the objective of this project? It is to move people. What are alternatives are there? And in Nairobi, we are aware there is NAMATA, Nairobi Metropolitan Transport Authority. And they are a constitutional body mandated to look at the entire transport in Nairobi. So whatever transport project we are doing has to meet and has to be approved by NAMATA, so that we don't end up conflicting. So that is the first thing I would like to highlight. And very humbly, I would request that you let us know whether NAMATA have approved the project as you have designed it. Very respectively. Having looked at what you have presented, I talked about when you want to buy a car or whatever. When it comes to a transport project, you have to start with the pre-feasibility. And Chair, I assume this is a concept note. This is a TOR for a feasibility. Is that true or wrong? What you have presented is the terms of reference for a feasibility study. It is not the feasibility study. Am I wrong? Because I'll go very quickly what a feasibility study should entail. There should be, first and foremost, the concept, the idea. What do we want? 2, you need to do a detailed study of the traffic and the demand. You have to look at the growth of the area in the long run. And based on that, you can make projections of traffic demand for that area. Once you have made the transport demand, you can now come to the options of how you can meet those that demand. And that is where the options come in. You have the BRT, you have the railway, you have the light rail, you can even have the underground as proposed by Sakanya, or even a combination of all of them. But now, to identify the best way for this to operate, you need a team of experts. Because it looks a small question, but it requires a lot of thinking and a lot of resources. So when we used to do it, we would require a team leader, a transport planner, a transport economist, a railway engineer, a highway engineer, a traffic engineer, a railway operations engineer, an architect, a quantity surveyor, a financial modeler. That team helps you develop a feasibility study. And such a study becomes available for us now to interrogate. Because the question I'll ask when you have that study, for example, is what is the economic internal rate of return for option A, option B, option C? What is the cost-benefit ratio of that project? What is the first year internal rate of return? The first year internal rate of return helps you to say this project should be delayed by 5 years, 10 years, or 15 years. But when you don't have economic indicators, then the decision is made on speculation. Maybe people will use, maybe this will happen. It is not based on economic factor. When you have this, you are able to identify the environmental, the social, and other costs. So, very respectively, General Manager, our view is that we need this study. And you can rest assured there are enough people here who can interrogate a study and add value to it. As you do that, I will highlight a few questions, which I have highlighted because I'm concerned. I'm concerned not for myself, but for my grandchildren. I'm not interested with this rail project for myself, but my grandchildren and great-grandchildren. We don't want them to have a project which will say, Wuka, how was this done when you are here? Grandfather, how did you allow a project like this to go on when it has no economic value? So, very quickly, a few questions which you have to highlight to yourself. Has Namata approved the line? I want that answer. How does this railway line connect with the BRT lines? Last year, in fact, Namata launched the Route 111 as a trial line, if I'm not wrong. True or not true? Yeah, they did. 2, if you look at the Public Finance Management Act 2022, it requires that a feasibility study is carried, the economic returns are identified, because the 12 billion we are spending on this railway can build 12,000 classrooms. It can build 120 kilometers of road. So you don't look at the railway in isolation. You have to look at it within the context, the economic context of the country. Because at the end of the day, it's the same population which will pay for this. Is it economical to put a railway line for 12 billion, which will carry how many people per day? I don't know, I haven't seen the feasibility, that's why I'm asking. How many? 5,000? 10,000? I don't know. No, it's okay. But this will be identified in the feasibility. We will be able to see they will be operating 5,000, which have so many coaches. Each coach is carrying 800. So in the morning we'll carry so many. In the evening we'll carry so many. But we'll be able to identify the cost of that. So this feasibility is not about opposing the project. It's about coming with the most economic project for the Karen and Gong people and for the whole country. For the country. Mr. Bwana GM, you have presented to us a line here. When you do the feasibility, every line alternative you do, you have to do an optimization. And then when you have optimized, that is when you compare the alternatives. And then in the process, you find the one which gives you the best economic returns, the one with the minimum environmental impact assessment, and the one which is also politically acceptable. Now, a few things which you need to look at and finalize as you finalize. You give us a line there. It shows a railway reserve. As far as I know, a railway reserve should be 50 meters on each side, 50 meters on the other side, isn't it? 60 meters. That's the old railway reserve. Eh? Am I wrong? Minimum. Minimum. Okay. Now, if you go to Gong Road, it's 60 meters. It's a road reserve, a right of way. You're telling us that the right of way will be shared between the road and the railway line. The question we would like to see as residents is how the widening of that road is integrated into the design of the railway line. Because whatever you do, 95% of the people with the fuel stations you have put, 95% of the people will not use it. So we need to see how the design of the road, the joining with the Kura is integrated on the railway line. Not just the railway line itself, we want to see how they are integrated. And that has been a request we have made very many times. You have told us, and let me explain. The railway reserve is actually an asset. The road reserve is an asset which Kura owns. If there is a problem there, Kura takes responsibility. But when you share the same reserve with the road, I don't know whether it's Kenya Railways or Kura who took on the asset management. So the issue of the asset management should not be just forgotten. It is an important part of the implementation. We live in Karen and Gong. And none of us know how much time it takes just to leave Karen roundabout and reach Gong. Now that the schools open today, sometimes it will be taking us an hour or 2 hours. So that is very important for us to be considered, because 12 billion spent on the railway, if only 4 billion went to widening the road as well, it will serve the 5% who use the railway line and the 95% who are not able to use the line. Yet, that 4 billion can actually be saved if you look at an alternative line, that we are sure. An alternative line is available which you can save the 4 billion. You are left with the 80 billion to do your railway. The 4 billion does our railway, our road. But that can only be identified in a detailed feasibility study. One other little point, like I talked about this Karen roundabout, you all have gone through the junction. They have done an interchange, a road over bridge. We need that road over bridge here at Karen urgently. Can you let us know how that road over bridge will work holistically with a railway line? These are the drawings we would like to see, so that we are satisfied that the railway is not going to destroy the potential for improving the current roundabout and producing an interchange. A few other issues. I don't know the percentage of the line which is at grade and which is above, because we have never seen the drawings. We have never seen the drawings. So we don't know where the road is at grade, the railway is at grade, and where it's above. And I'll tell you, for example, I'm a member of Karen Community Church. The railway is passing there. But so far, we have not seen the drawings, so we are not sure whether it will be above or below. Once we see that, we will be able to raise pertinent questions. If it's at grade level, for example, the access to Gongview, how do you deal with the railway and the traffic from Gongview? Very important. Does that mean you are going to put signals there? Otherwise, we are going to get the accidents we have seen on the railways all around, isn't it? Very, very fatal. Wherever it is, we have to look at the individual junction and see how it is going to be addressed. 2, we have had sort of stipulation that the railway is going to increase the values of land in Karen. If you go around Kibera, you see that the railway does not improve properties values. It actually devalues them because it cuts the accessibility to the properties. So it means that, for example, on this road, whoever is on the southern part, and that's where the railway line is, they will not be able to do a commercial development on that side. So you need to relook and justify and satisfy the owners of these plots that this railway line is not going to devalue their property. So to do that, we need to see the drawings of what is going to be done. Will there be a parallel road to service them, or what will be done? This can only be done when you do a detailed design, a preliminary design, and a proper feasibility study. I will not talk much on there is the issue of stations. You need to see the provision of parking, intermodal transfer. If I want to go to town, I come by car, I need to be able to park and ride. How is this being provided in this in this design? This can be established again through a proper feasibility study where the preliminary designs are done and all these are optimized. And I would say, without those studies, you might find that even the land you are acquiring is inadequate. When you come to construction, you find that the land is inadequate. So you have to keep going back. So these studies are actually critical. They are critical. And they should be available. They may take a bit of time. But if they are done properly, they save you a lot of headache. In engineering, we used to say, the 5% you don't do is what causes you 95% of the problems. And I'll repeat, the 5% you don't do is what gives you 95% of the problems. So let us spend the 5%. And actually, a feasibility like this one, this is 12 billion. If it is 1%, it will only cost 100 million. And it will save you 95% of the problems. Because all these people will be together with you. All the residents will be together. Last trip, you talked about so many lines. The Limuru line, the Ruiru line, the Syokimau and all that. Very good ideas. But my knowledge of Nairobi commuter rail is that it serves maybe 20,000 to 40,000 passengers per day. 20 to 40,000. Nairobi requires 1 million passenger trips per day. So you should ask ourselves, do you want to spend 12 billion to serve? Sorry, I've got a mistake. If the Nairobi commuter rail is only serving 20 to 40,000, my question is, what additional number of passengers will be served by the new line? Is it 5? Is it 10,000? If it is 5,000, is it worth spending that on them? If it is 10,000, is it worth? Do you have the rolling stock? Have you put in the addition, the stations? Have they been designed to accommodate this future? So these are pertinent questions which we would like to study and see in a feasibility study. You talked of 500,000 passengers per day. Okay, it is possible. But we need a demonstration that that number of passengers can actually be carried through a proper model. We used to do that. And if you do that, we will definitely support this project. We have no problem with the project. Like I said, we are interested in the project, but these are some of our concerns. We have not had enough time to prepare them because you only gave us a few hours. But I hope that that does explain and summarizes the concerns of the residents as far as the engineering projects is concerned. Thank you very much. And sorry, I'll give you the questions so you don't have to respond to them now. You are going to respond to them in the feasibility study. Thank you.
Thank you, Engineer, for the informed comments and observations made. I can clearly see KLDA questions that have been asked by the engineer at KLDA. I'm hoping there will still be more, we still give room for more comments at all that. I just wanted to respond to this. I will give option. Okay, it's okay. It's okay. No problem. That's okay. Then I think we give room to the next person or the next presentation. Who has it? It's okay.
Good afternoon, everyone. The SEC, Kenya Railways, KLDO members, Karen community, good afternoon. Now, as guided by the general manager, mine is to take us through the questions that have been asked. Basically, Engineer Ndwati has gone through that. However, there are a few things that we want to straighten out here. The questions that we are asking here, as you can see, they are all boiling down to the feasibility study. And as long as that feasibility study report has not been shared in proper detail, many questions are arising. Majority, so that I don't repeat myself, have been covered by Engineer Ndwati, but very pertinent is why the railway, when we can dual the road. What comes out first? Yes. Number two is, and these are feasibility questions that are arising. Number two is, what is the economic value of this railway? Now, of course, as Engineer Ndwati has rightfully pointed out, without a feasibility study, there is no answer. Unless you tell us there is an answer, and then show us which feasibility study, kindly. The other issue that is also seriously coming up is on the operations. I'm just going through in summary because I don't want to repeat what Engineer Ndwati has done. The questions are all collated, and we shall submit them to you formally, so that it doesn't look like it is an ambush. Give you time to go and respond. The other issues that are arising here are operational issues. Now, operational issues, this is a quiet community. And that's the truth of the matter. And we want to preserve it that way. That is why we are saying there are other alternatives that exist, not an optimization. When we looked at the EIA that we were told was approved by NEMA, and we have had our contentions, issues to do with noise were never addressed to our satisfaction. Today, we still don't have an the design. We are also raising operational questions. You have clarified and said now it's going to move to electric. But even today, we still ask ourselves, why meter gauge when we can have SGR? Where is the world moving? Come again? Why the SGR? Why don't we have the standard gauge? Why not the why the MGR? Why not the SGR? These are questions that we are asking. Why not the tram service? That would be more effective, that is going to serve us better as a passenger rail service. These are questions that we are asking. We are also going to ask questions, and we are also asking questions. Now that the work has been done the way it has been done, yes, it is your responsibility as government to correct. But what we are categorically stating here is that irrespective of what has been done, alternatives exist. And we should not be told that because there are alternatives that exist, that the work has been done, that we can continue the mistake. We are concerned. Sean will come and talk about the environment. I think he's more good with that. But we are concerned that already the environment has been destroyed. Already we do not have a plan for the catchment. Mbagathi is passing across that line. What is being done when already in Ngong Road, the forest cover has been, Ngong Forest, already forest cover has been destroyed. And that is our ecosystem. That is our ecosystem. We are concerned with what is going on there. We were not consulted when that was happening, and we wish to categorically state in this public participation, let not other tree be cut until we all agree. Let no other tree be cut before we agree. And we say this categorically simply because we have seen evidence. When the trees were being cut, we even saw approvals from Nairobi City County Government. How the approvals were gotten overnight is a wonder to us. When just court says, okay, go on with the project can go on before we went to appeal, and immediately the trees are cut on a Saturday. So this is the reason why members are feeling that unless everything is brought clearly, we are not for the project. Thank you. The questions are here in detail. I just avoided that.
Well, I don't think I can match the eloquence of my predecessors, notably Engineer Ndwati. Anyway, my name is Sean Avery. I'm a civil engineer like Ndwati. We worked together at the same company for many years. We know each other very well and respect each other. Although I'm a civil engineer, I did actually form an environmental unit within the company, the first of its kind in Kenya. And my NEMA license is actually one of the very first to be issued. It's issued number 15, and I think there must be over 10,000 now. So although I'm a civil engineer, one thing I did learn was that civil engineers know more about destruction than most other people, because we are involved in projects that actually cause it. So forming an environmental unit was a no-brainer, because we knew exactly what the consequences would be and could actually then critically review how the project should be implemented to mitigate those impacts. Now, I was asked to, when this railway was launched, I thought, well, this is a bit of a surprise. We've not actually seen anything about this. And I gathered from KLDA that there had been discussions and requests for education. When the environmental and social impact assessment was produced, I was asked to look through it. And to be honest, I didn't spend too much time going through it, because I was very disillusioned, because the ESIA process, by law, should be conducted before any project is envisaged. This particular ESIA was actually given to me dated 8 months after the project had been launched. And I thought, well, what's the point? You know, we're just, it's an exercise in futility trying to meaningfully consult on any project like this unless it's before the project proceeds. The other thing which immediately struck me was, you know, I need to meaningfully criticize an EIA. I need to see the associated documents. Notably, first question, where is the feasibility study? I'm sorry, but there is no feasibility study. So actually we have no basis to benchmark what this ESIA is trying to say about a project for which we have no feasibility study. We don't have any of the drawings. We don't know where the alignments are. So actually, I did not spend much time on that review, because I thought it was a waste of time. Now, fortunately, sometime later, we had no documents at all, but sometime later, KLDA was able to come across the 2019 master plan study for the commuter rail work for the whole of Nairobi. Now, this for me was a moment of, I was very excited, and I worked with Peter Ndwati on this as well. That study, I I mean, I couldn't believe this, but actually when I went through that study, the Ngong, this Riruta Ngong line is actually, it was one of the lines which were identified by that study. And what struck me was they put in their document, they stated that they didn't select the alignment. They stated that their terms of reference told them the alignment is from here to there. You are to base your work on that alignment, and that it was based on previous studies by Kenya Railways, which we've never seen. We've never seen those. So I would, from a professional point of view, I would love to see those studies to see, why did they come up with this alignment? But the other significant thing that came out of reviewing that master plan was that, as I say, they were told to use that alignment. They weren't actually allowed, they didn't have the latitude to consider others. And they stated that according to the Kenya Railways studies which they were told about, there was space alongside the Ngong Road to put a railway. Now we're talking about, the study, that World Bank study was 2019, and I believe the KR studies were around about 2015, so that's quite a long time ago. And as a long-term resident of Karen, I've seen huge changes. We've all seen changes. So much so that instead of having public land alongside the whole of the Ngong Road to put this railway in, you've had to put in a viaduct at huge expense. So I suppose from my point of view as an EIA person, I'm asking, well, is this really a good idea? Is this actually the best place to do it? Unfortunately, the ESIA study did not consider any alternatives. So we then came back to the same thing. Since it was obvious to Kenya Railways that you didn't have space along the Ngong Road to put that railway, as had been assumed, and taking note that that World Bank funded study ranked this railway line, this alignment, last. It was bottom of the list. It is line 8, but it was bottom of the list in terms of cost benefit. So at the end of this all, I just concluded, just as everybody else has done, we can't meaningfully contribute to this unless we see the feasibility studies, and then we have to then review the environmental social impact assessment studies in view of whatever that entails. So unfortunately, we're back to square one. We can't work. We would work with you. As people have already said, there's lots of expertise sitting out here, and we would love to contribute, but there has to be a flexible approach to this, and a feasibility study will address all of our concerns. Anyway, thank you.
I think that you had the representation KLDA or any other? It's okay, no problem. I'm saying the presentation here. So I can see there is a hand at the back. I think we go to the gentleman at the center there. Then we'll go to the, let's go start with the gentleman at the center. No, he had raised earlier on before you. Yes. Sorry? From KLDA.
All right, so I think in summary, I'm not closing the meeting, I'm just allowing for more opportunity to pass by, but I think you understand our position as KLDA where we are regarding this matter. I cannot go to a government institution and be asked to come with my passport and I show up with the driver's license. In Ukweli, we asked for a feasibility report. This is not a feasibility report. And I think it's important that we put it in record. Right? We didn't ask for terms of reference, we didn't ask for anything, we just asked for a feasibility report, and I think it's coming out very clearly. The report that, the notice that you gave for us to show up, we came up and we showed up. despite our objection for such a location, because we really want to be participated in this thing. Because contrary to this being work for the Kenya Railway, this is our home, man. This is where we live. These are our trees, man. If you'd care to spend time with residents of Karen, they would let you know a good number of the trees that are positioned to where you guys want to place the railway line are a lot of indigenous trees that have taken years to be planted, to be curated, to be molded, to be protected. And so for us to come and have such a conversation, please come with a feasibility report. And when you do, I will be happy to provide a room. I will be happy to converge people. Members, will you attend when I called upon? We will do, and we'll have a very meaningful conversation. Before I sit down, I have 2 questions for the representative of Kenya Railway, and I'd like this to be put on record. Very simple questions. I just want to know, do you agree that before any work or construction can take place, a proper pre-feasibility and feasibility study needs to be undertaken first? Yes or no?
I think you have asked questions and we are responding. I don't want to respond on a question of a yes and a no answer. Let him make his submission. We'll make our submission, and then we shall be able to move forward. But I'm not able to. You see, the other gentlemen have asked many questions. No, they have asked me many questions, but at those sections, I was not giving a yes or a no. So just make your submission. We shall be making
I'm not just making,
but we shall
I'm
make.
not just
We shall
making,
take
I am
in
not
notes.
just making my submission. I'm speaking on behalf of everybody here. Okay? And I just need to know, when you call for this public participation, you asked for the decision makers of the community to show up. They are here. I'm assuming you are speaking on behalf of Kenya Railway. If you are not, allow us to wrap up this meeting, go back to our homes and businesses, and when you're ready to speak to us, we will show up again. So I still am going to ask you the very same question. Do you agree that before any work proceeds, a proper pre-feasibility and feasibility study needs to be undertaken first?
But Kivati, is it
Kitavi.
Kitavi? We have had you. We have had your questions. We shall be able to respond to.
This is not a political forum.
Yes.
This is not a political forum. So there is no need for PR answers here. Like I mentioned to you, our livelihoods are on the line here. And it's important to know. I'll ask the second question. Do you agree that feasibility studies must meet all the criteria and due processes be satisfied before we proceed?
I will answer these. The coalition is following the laws the laws of Kenya as stipulated. That's why even when a court order was given, we were able to stop. You have not seen us proceeding. Yes. So what I'm saying is that we are respecting the laws of the land and the various whatever. So rest assured we shall abide by the laws.
Good. Then I'll have you know that you're also guided by the law. To know that before any construction can take place, a proper feasibility and feasibility study needs to be undertaken first. Okay? And in adherence to the same law that you and I are agreeing to quote, feasibility study must meet all the criteria for due process to be satisfied. Like I said, once you're ready with the feasibility study, we will call us. I will call upon you. I will gather as many residents, business people of Karen as possible, and we will conduct in a meaningful conversation. Thank you.
Who is seated at the center comes. I just want to make remarks on the submission given by KLDA. We have noted your submission. We have noted the concern leads. We have noted the request done on the various reports that you need availed. Those reports will be availed. As I said, this event for today was not supposed to be an end on itself. It is, for lack of a better word, the start of a discussion. So we shall be coming back. We shall be providing those feasibility studies that are available because they are available with those numbers. and we shall be able to continue with the engagement. So I think with that, there is no cause of alarm on that. But maybe we hear the comment from the let's hear, because he has been studying for some time, we hear him.
Thank you. Okay, thank you. Smaura again. Nawakilisha wafanyabiashara ya matatu wale tunafanyia from roundabout ya Karen. We have a bus station na kulingana na vile nimeona umeelekeza pale kwa ramani yako ni kwamba itapitia on the left just next to Shell petrol station. Na nikiangalia ni kama itakuwa inapita juu ya the stage ama the bus station. Na kulingana vile nimesikia tena ni kwamba kutakuwa na a railway station, a substation hapo juu. Have you put into consideration that kuna matatu nyingi zinabebea hapo? They are distributed to Gong, to Kikuyu, to Nairobi, to Kawangware, to Rongai, to serve Karen, schools, hospitals, and all the way to Rangata Road. That's my first question. Another observation is that you're going to construct pillars, like we have seen on the expressway. How safe will the pillars be next to the road for that long stretch? Having in mind, we have seen along expressway, in case an accident happens, minimal survival. If you hit such a pillar, that big pillar, just next to the road, what can happen? Or what measures will be put to protect people that will be using the road around Gong to Nairobi? Number 3, we have business people that work around. Have you put into consideration that they survive on what they do wrong? Also, the road design that you had put in place, that you negotiated, there's something that will be done around the roundabout, the road design, and there's the rail passing on top. If you agreed with the designers of the road around the roundabout, did you put into consideration that matatus, other road users will be using it? Isifike kama the way you have seen the expressway, the way it was done. I only saw it. I live around there. I didn't see something like this. The road that was there was pushed to the side. You see the suffering of those people who use it along, if you go to Imara Daima that way. Like now, they are trying to put a walking path that is almost 1 meter wide. Na kuna section zingine haina. In that design, where will our people be passing if they want to cross from the other side to the bus station in case it happens? All those that will be carried by our matatus to our stage, they want to go across. Will their safety be considered too? Thank you.
Thank you. There is a gentleman who had raised his hand there. Then we shall come back to you. And then my colleague will respond.
Thank you, Engineer Maina. I was second to stand. I want to start by making an observation that we are here today because of what you people did. And the Assistant County Commissioner who moderated the session, I said, Christopher is here present. We raised these same questions. And you assured us as government that you are going to give us written responses to all our questions 2 years ago. When the county commissioner to this day, na sisi watoto kituona, yeah, nothing came back. Instead, work commenced. That's taking Kenyans for granted, you know? Yeah. So we went to court to seek redress because Kenya Railway and other government agencies, you refused to respond to our needs, meaning you don't consider us as stakeholders in this project. First, we are taxpayers. We pay for all these projects. It's supposed to benefit us. But if we don't like it, don't shove it down our throats. We are intelligent, like there are engineers here, there are economists here. Together as Kenyans, we can sit and reason. But don't be presumptuous. Don't take us for granted. If you do, we'll go back to court. Just be assured that. But if you comply and you cooperate, we are more than willing to support you. I just have a curious question. In your presentation, you did very well on line option 1. But when it went to option 2 and 3, you started mumbling around, muffling. I didn't even hear what you were saying. Now it end and it will go. There were no drawings to tell us or to appreciate what those alternatives were. And there's a reason why in any project there are alternatives. I mean, your professional colleagues have told you that. I don't want to bore you that. My last observation, there's an SGR station at Kangawa with a train service that serves to Syokimau. I've used it with about 20 other passengers. It took us 18 minutes from Kangawa to Syokimau. I got into the Syokimau line to town. It took us 30 minutes. So in 48 minutes, somebody from Kangawa can get to CBD. The only challenge was 1.5 kilometer road that needed to be upgraded to bitumen. I saw an advertisement by your colleagues in Kura that they are going to upgrade that road. If that road is upgraded, the matatu operators will terminate passengers there and they can take a train service. You will have cured. Because us downstream, we don't need railway line. Perhaps if you want to cater for people from Kiserian and Gongtown, bring them to Kangawa, you have an SGR, it's your line. Take them to Syokimau, take them to town. Allow us that money to dual carriage. By the way, with 12 billion shillings, if you add 4 billion shillings, you will dual carriage this road to Kiserian. We've talked to engineers. To Kiserian, bring it to Ongatarongai that has been faffing for years, to Galeria, bring Galeria to Ongatarongai. You will have opened this southern corridor for economic purposes. And don't forget, if you look at the road from National Library up to here, look at the economic benefits along that road. The residual benefits, the Juakali people who are doing business around that. I thought this government is about economic empowerment. A railway line does not give economic empowerment because there's no residual benefit to it. It is very restrictive line. You are only carrying passengers. And also economically speaking, a commuter line, I've lived in other cities in the world rather than here. People use trams, electric lines as you've talked about, but they supplement the BRTs. They can never be the primary movers of passengers. I'm not aware because I don't know how many railway lines, how many trains you are going to run on this line daily. You also need to tell us that so that we can, we are just helping you do your work more efficiently. Thank you.
I think that's okay. There's a lady who had a question at the back there.
Good afternoon. Okay, he's said most of what I wanted to say, but I just want to appeal to you because you're taking us for granted. And I think you've taken us for granted for too long now. And Engineer Duarte has talked about the feasibility study. This is something that has been talked about and talked about. But anyway, if you do this railway, even accessing these stations from, I live in Mutero. If I need to catch this train, be it in Gong, be it in Karen, with all the traffic jam that we're having, even accessing your stations would be a problem. Just like it's a big problem to get to the SGR station. So if you shove it down our throats like you're about to, and by the way, you don't even sound convinced yourselves as you're telling us about all this. You didn't sound convinced. So it's really something that's going to benefit other people, your bosses, not the wananchi.
Thank you for the comment and the observation. Yes, we don't want to leave in a comment. I think this gentleman in front of you has been raising the question many times. Then from him, we'll go back to the gentleman at the back. I have seen I don't know whether the lady you wanted to speak? You wanted to speak? Okay. I think we can go in that order.
Thank you, Commissioner. Thank you, Chief, for serving our community. And thank you, members who came here. Engineer, I'll address to you. I don't know you are Engineer Maina or him. I don't know who is Metiaki, and you are Engineer Maina. And your other colleague, Engineer Kariuki. Thank you for availing yourself. I have listened to your presentation. I worked in the same government 10 years ago that you are serving now. And one thing I can guarantee you, you will leave these offices. You will not stay here. You are not part of the furnitures. And you will want to retire in a calm, good neighborhood like Karen. And most of you, when you are young in those government offices, you are aspiring. I used to aspire. Now after I retired, I did my private business. Now I'm part of the community. So as you're doing your official duty, please afford respect and don't take these citizens who employed you. If you think you are government, you are not government. You are servants. This is the government. Even from the president to the junior clerk, you are servants. You need to understand the power and authority you come and sit with here, and the uniform and the rank you wear, you are wearing in trust of the people of Kenya. And this is the government. So you don't need to fumble when your employer asks you, is it not right to do a feasibility study? You say, yes, sir. You don't say, I will answer that question as if you're tuning a young girl. No, please, afford us respect. I worked in the same government. I used to afford respect to any person who comes, and I used to tell my bosses, sorry, this is my employer. If you want to fire me, fire me. Mr. Mainga used to be in charge of research in Kenya Railway. He's your boss now, CEO. Please ask him when he went to office, what happened to the factory for making sleepers for the railway in industrial area. What happened to it? It was leased to an Indian who runs it as a garage, and Kenya Railway earns a rent. It's only in Kenya, a developing economy you describe, where we are trying to bring an archaic, old age, meter gauge railway fueled by diesel. See what it does to the existing line in Kibra and other places it passes. Apart from the noise, the dust it raises from the ground, the black soot, carbon monoxide that comes from the exhaust suffocates and makes children sleep with asthma every evening, coughing, and they cannot be treated. Do you want the same for your grandfathers who live in Karen and who are your employers? See what it has done to any place it has passed. Why is it not electric? Engineer, I respect you because of your education. But your colleagues in Cairo, what have they done? I was in Cairo in 2010. They have built an electric underground train from the middle of the city, somewhere called Tahrir Square, to the airport, a line that is close to 15 kilometers underground without disturbing the population. And it transports within 4 minutes from the CBD to the airport in Cairo in less than 5 minutes. And it's electric. And ask me about the cost. It was equivalent to 7 billion Kenya shillings. Now you're giving us a line that pollutes our environment, that creates disturbance for our neighborhood, that destroys our ecosystem, flora and fauna, for 12 billion shillings that will come out of our pockets. I'm sorry, it cannot be done. And then, worse, to add an insult to an injury, you are coming here and telling us we don't know whether feasibility study is necessary for this project. We are sorry. Please go back to your bosses. I know everyone has a tenor, and all the bosses, all of them I can list for you. The last was Atanas Maina. When he left office, he had a few millions and relocated to a good neighborhood. The same will happen to you, Engineer Maina. When this project is over, you will either join us in Karen or you will go to Runda yourself. Live of Vivian Mainga. Please have some respect where you will be retiring to. Don't push people and don't push your ideas, because it annoyed me when you said, I have seen KLDA has no issue with the project. Yes, we have. That is why we are here. I have not gone to my office, and so is everyone. I'm very young. I can work for my family. This is billable hours I'm spending here. But because it touches my life, I said, let me listen to Engineer Maina. But please don't take me for granted. I have other business to do. A feasibility study, without it, this project cannot go on. Even if all they agree, I will be the one who will take you to court. And it will never take off. I can guarantee you. I will get court orders over court orders. And I will ensure all your bosses are arrested. Because criminal liability contempt does not leave your shoulders. I will make sure you will go to Nairobi remand if you do it without any proper public participation. The Supreme Court gave a decision about public participation on building bridges initiative. There can be no effective public participation without giving prior information and sensitization to the public. How do you want us to participate in your project and give you clearance without getting information? How? I don't know what you have. You have not given me information, yet you are telling me, come and participate. How? My brother, you have to tell me this room you're building. Where is the access road? Is it the main gate, or should I enter from the window? It is up to you. You are the engineer. You are so educated. We respect you. But please, come with a more convincing ideas. If I go to your other projects, SGR, what have you done? You have given us an SGR that was initially planned to be dual carriage. More than the previous budget, you gave us one line and more expensive than our neighboring Tanzania and Ethiopia. And I can give you the numbers. To date, it is run by Chinese. And those rolling stocks, they have Chinese police officers who arrest Kenyans on Kenyan soil. I can tell you without fear of contradiction. Kenya Railway does not control. Kenya Police does not control. When they arrest, they hand over you to police and they give commands. Are we coming into a neocolonialism of Chinese? My brother, that railway, convince me today, it has broken even since they have started. They carry cargo, a monopoly from Mombasa to ICD to Naivasha, Suswa, the Kendong Ranch. It has not broken an even. Up to date, the revenue is supplemented by the National Treasury from the pockets of these citizens. Then you are giving us a dusty and very poor meter gauge railway. Give us a better project, please. Please. And we will support you. We will be the first people to support you if you bring us a better project with better information. But meter gauge railway, we are sorry. Please give it to other people who need it, not the residents of Karen. Thank you.
Thank you. Again, Mr. Abdurahi, let me first of all clarify one thing. And I think maybe I was gotten out of context. I did not say that KLDA per se has no objection. What I meant is that I can see the KLDA, what they want is clarification of information. And if clarity is provided, they are willing to make an informed decision in terms of how to proceed with a project like this. Not that let me not be misquoted to mean that I meant KLDA has no opposition to the project, because I'm aware that's why they had gone to the court to seek for some clarification. I thought I put that in context. And we are here also courtesy because we also respect you. We respect everyone. That's why you can see we are listening to every comment. There is no comment or observation, submission that we are shooting down. We are listening so that we can be able to go back and provide the information. And the documents you are saying, I have seen, which is rightfully so, the requirements of the PFM Act in terms of the stages of the project, in terms of the concept note, pre-feasibility, feasibility, and all that. I assure you those documents are available. We shall be able to provide those documents to the association as requested. So yes, the feasibility and the they will be provided in due course. I think I think what I can say is this: without there is a court injunction in terms of there are comments or mandatory requirements that has been put forward for provision. We are respecting the court order, and that's why we are here. Otherwise, we will not be here if we are not respecting. So that shows you we are respecting the order given, and the documents required we will be able to provide the engineer. So I think there is a gentleman who was at the back. I would want, he can also make his comment.
rather than through high density area, and where the resident may benefit more from having a railway line going through their area.
To make some comments, and then we still give room. Let him make some comment, and then he also assists me to take the discussion in the next stage. But we are still here. We will listen to you.
Thank you very much, and thank you very much also for the participant and for the comments that you are giving to this presentation. As he indicated, we are taking all of them positively. We are quiet here. We are not necessarily disrespecting the submissions. We are onboarding all of them. And what we are hearing is that we need also to give to assure, if I just confirm to the submission from the Matatu owners, that there will be integration of they want integration of the railway stations with the road transport as a node where there is a continued transit of passengers from one mode to another. We have taken care of that. And also, we have taken care of that comment, and that we ensure that it will be safe where there is columns and pillars on the corridor to ensure that there is no risk of collision between motorists and those columns. We have noted that. and that where there are realignments, we ensure that the road functionality continue. We agree that we noted some challenges on Mombasa Road with the implementation of the expressway, and that is a clear concern from the plenary. We have taken note of that, and also the issue to do with the mass transport and bulk transport of railways, whether we are taking the railway to low density areas or vis-a-vis high density areas. So that we have also taken care of. We have had on a very high level that the feasibility report, you want to have a look at that, you want to have that shared. We know some of those feedback are there, but what we are saying is that the transit lines will pass through all locations. We are not ignoring high density areas or focusing on low density areas. We have actually looked at all the prioritization in terms of the route selection and the studies which identified some of these routes. And the priority of implementation and operations is actually follows where we have high density and high demand in terms of the transport requirements. And some of these satellite cities, they all need this demand. There is congestion in all these corridors. If you go to the corridor to Ongatarongai, Ngong, Thika Road, Embakasi, all those corridors are congested, including Mombasa Road. Even with the expressway, with the dual, there is still congestion there. Even when we already operate some commuter services, we still have congestion there because there are operational issues, there's infrastructure issues, there are rolling stock issues, there are so many other issues. And as I indicated earlier, the study is not only about one corridor. It's a network study, and as the engineers will agree, even among your midst, that commuter transport is not one corridor issue. It's a network study, and there are nodes where origin and destination of this traffic is actually being addressed. So this is just to confirm that we appreciate this conversation and we are taking it positively, and we continue to get more feedback to inform this project going forward. Thank you. Any other comment? So maybe we can start with the lady. Yeah.
Good afternoon, and thank you so much for giving me the mic. I've listened to what you've said, and thank you so much for that. I was sent here on behalf of a family member because we've been operating on rumors. Because as been said very clearly, we have absolutely no document, no official document with which to refer to. So as I came here and I sat and I saw your presentation, I have seen that the railway is passing literally through the middle of her land. So the question is financial compensation, because if it's gonna go the way you guys are insisting that it's gonna go, what's gonna happen, because she's already put in approval requests and all that type of stuff has been passed? And what does that mean? Because if you're gonna just compensate somebody saying that it is, land value, what happens to the potential development value of the land that you're now telling her that she cannot go ahead with?
In responding, but I can answer that. As we have said, the purpose for us coming here was to get more information so that we can go and improve before we come back to you again. I may not know the exact plot of land that you have mentioned there, but as a general comment, but this is very general, of course, land compensation is done in line with the Land Act 2012, and there is some clauses that govern compulsory land acquisition and all that. But in terms of compensation for value, you are compensated for actual value, that is the value, and the development. So the mandate for the actual valuation is currently less with the National Land Commission. We, as an agency, we will not be able to value. All what we do is to channel the information to NLC. It's NLC that gives that value. And having said that, prior to, of course, us reaching where we are in terms of the stoppage or the injunction, there's an exercise that had taken place. And I'm aware some reports had been generated by National Land Commission. Unfortunately, we had not reached a position where we could come. Maybe a few may have been disclosed, but we had not reached a stage where to come and disclose wholly to the other residents, because that's when the injunction came. So those reports are there, the valuations are there, the affected persons are there, the documents are there. But after the injunction, we felt the injunction basically stopped the other transactions. So we could not be in a position to proceed with that. But if that is an option in terms of land and it is affected, there is the compensation will be done. Thank you.
Just sorry, I'm feeling like you're moving us from one department to another department. So on this side, we're dealing with Kenya Railways, and then now you want us to jump over and deal with National Lands Commission. So is there no department within this project where we can actually just have one place that we're dealing with everything?
Okay, let me clarify, maybe sorry for that, if the clarity was, one, I'm saying the project proponent, for example, here happens to be Kenya Railways. The responsibility of the project proponent is to provide the facts and to facilitate the other agencies that have the respective mandate of compulsory land acquisition. So what happens in terms of that process is the minister responsible for the project being done informs National Land Commission, so that National Land Commission does the gazettement. So the mandate of the National Land Commission is to gazette at the value and make the actual payment. But of course, there are other requirements there. But the primary responsibility still rests with the project proponent. So for this case, the primary responsibility rests with us, because that other one, I would say, for lack of a better word, is an intervener of the other processes. So we have to provide them facts, we have to facilitate. And that's why legally National Land Commission does not communicate the value to the affected persons until they receive the money from the project proponent. Because the assumption is, once now they communicate the value, and there is no dispute about the value and all that, they go ahead and make the actual payment. So that's why the requirement, the funds have to be provided. But the mandate of valuation and those other functions squarely rests with the National Land Commission as a public, is it called a public constitutional office? That is the mandate of that. Not even the Minister of Lands, is the National Land Commission. So I have just, that is for clarity. I think I saw some other comments. I think the two gentlemen, I think they had put their heads ahead of you. We shall still come back to you. Thank you. No, the two gentlemen, you and the gentleman behind you.
Okay, just for avoidance of doubt, I believe that public participation is not just ticking a box. So I'm getting a little confused. Suppose in this public participation, you discover that this project has very adverse impacts. Is there a possibility that you will then stop and the project can go ahead? Because if that is not the case, then it's like you're wasting time. Because the proper positive public participation, which you undertake when you are doing the environmental and social impact assessment, means that you're looking at the impact that the project will cause. But the way I hear this is that regardless of what impact it is, the project will go ahead. As it is, I'm already a very aggrieved party, because past the court ruling, I have pictures here. People came cutting trees. We even thought they were thugs along the roadside. I happened to be on the front line. When we confronted them, they started showing us letters. Kenya Railways, City Council had given permission for trees to be cut along the road. Past the time the court had ruled. So it's like, regardless of what we share here, the project must go ahead. Is that the case? And should we be here then if that is the case? Because I would have thought that if it's so bad, you should reach a point where you say, no, the line can't pass here, we can pass through another side. That was Engineer Duarte was saying. Alternatives, not that we are here and we must pass through them. Thank you.
Thank you for the microphone. And I'd firstly like to say how proud I am of fellow Karenites who are so eloquent and knowledgeable and unified. So thank you all. Mine's very brief. There have been a lot of questions, and I'm sure KLDA has been noting them down, and you were given some on paper. Will you commit to answer those questions point by point, apart from the notwithstanding requirement for the feasibility study? So will you commit to answer those questions point by point, please?
Me to answer that, to answer the comments, but we have had you let him comment. I will make some more comments later.
So I would request that you come up again, but before you do that, maybe I can talk to the previous question. We have honored the court order. So the project was stopped when the court issued its orders. And at this juncture, we have been returned back to this process of public participation. So, and we are listening to what the stakeholders are raising, because that is the public participation action now on course. And we want to proceed with that at this juncture. And as we continue with that, we don't want to make preemptive decisions or prediction at this stage, but we want to continue with this process as required to comply, and then the eventuality will come after this process has been concluded. And I think that is very clear for us that what you have raised is what is most important, and we need to address that as we go forward. So maybe you could please come up again with your concern.
I think I have heard you. What you had said, you wanted to know whether we can respond point by point in the questions raised by Duarte, Engineer Duarte. That's the question. Correct. Not now. To later on, yes. The good thing is, of course, we have this submission that has come, but had KLDA had said they will do another formal submission, so that we are able to respond to comments. Maybe they have more comments. We shall be able to respond point by point on all questions that will be answered. Even now, we can try to answer. It's only that we feel maybe at this juncture, we are getting the information. We shall be able to respond point by point, just as is required. So rest assured we will get the responses. The gentleman at the end here had wanted to speak first. Then from there we go to the gentleman at the center.
Good evening. Thank you for the time. Thank you for showing up. It's interesting, the number of employees or staff members from Kenya Railways. I'm glad that they are, I think I had socialists, sociologists, environmentalists, IT, and engineers for sure, and planners. Therefore, we are all professionals. The point of a meeting is that we have something to take home. You have a bunch of questions to take home, which you could have received via email through KLDA. So this meeting, as far as we've come, may not have been necessary. For the residents who are here, we are here because this process impacts quite a bit in our environment, in our home, has been mentioned, in our businesses, in our livelihoods. We need to go home. Several of us have already left. What are we taking home as assurance that you will actually hold to what you are saying? As has been mentioned, this meeting was held 3 years ago, about 3 years ago at St. Christopher's. Many of us, in fact, I think more than we are now, were in that meeting. The same objections were voiced. I remember Engineer Duarte spoke then. He's speaking again today. We asked for the same information that we are asking for now. We were given the same assurance by you and by your consultant that you would give us that information. It's been 3 years. So my question right now and my requirement, and I know there are very many businessmen here, as you're leaving a meeting, there needs to be something we are committing to. For us, we've committed. We'll give all the information you need. We'll be available for all the discussions you need. For you, when are you committing to give that information back to us? We need a date, we need a time, and the reason why I mentioned your employees is that all your people are available to give a lot of the information that we have asked for. You yourself have confirmed that you have done the feasibility studies and the pre-feasibility studies. You have your sociologists, whatever they are. You have your people here. You have your IT person who can log into the system and check all these numbers. So you could actually give us that number of how many passengers are you talking about from Ngong to town or from Ngong to Karen? How many of these passengers are we talking about? What is the frequency of trains that you'll be passing by? You have admitted that you have that information. The fact that you have the presentation that you've given us, very detailed engineering technology that you've shown us, means that you have done quite a bit of work. You couldn't have done that work without some numbers that you're working with. The fact that you're not telling us those numbers, as has been mentioned, means that you're hiding some things. And the evidence that you have gone and chopped down trees in the interim between 3 years ago and now means that you shall indeed continue performing your actions whether we agree or not. So all we are asking for, as we are leaving this meeting now, I'm okay. I will never get those numbers right now. I've agreed with myself. I will not get those numbers now. But when will you confirm? When will you commit? When are you committing to the date when you shall give that information to us? You said that studies have been done. They are somewhere in your systems. That means you could actually get them tomorrow. Are you confirming? Are you committing to sending that information to our general manager? Yes, and it shouldn't be the date. I would love to have that date now. At least commit to a date now, so that it can be something I can take home to my stakeholders at home, to my children at home, and tell them, yes, Kenya Railways have told us they're going to give us this information by tomorrow. So that they can tell me, or I can tell them that, yes, you will have some bread on your table tomorrow, or yes, your business will be running tomorrow, because your counterparts in the road system, Kura, nearly shut down some businesses not too long ago. During the same process, rushing to work without informing the business owners and saying you've met all the requirements. I have heard you said you are complying with the law of the land. That for me is a blanket thing you put to say, yes, you cannot take us to court because we are complying. But you have shut down my business. You have not informed me about it. You've said you have options. Telling me that the difference in transport systems is different tires on my car. That is not an option. It's either a car, a train, a plane. Not a car, either a Toyota, Mercedes. No, that is one mode of transport. So we need to hear different modes of transport. I'm glad she's mentioned you work with Kura, you work with Lands. Why aren't those offices represented here? They are critical. Your work is going to impact Kura if they're ever going to do that interchange in Karen. Why aren't they here? Property is being damaged as we speak. Where is the Ministry of Environment? People's properties, as she's mentioned, are being impacted. Where is the Ministry of Lands? If you're doing a feasibility study, then do it properly. Otherwise, just tell us, as has been alluded to, you're ticking a box and you'll proceed on doing what you're doing. So please give us a confirmation on when we shall receive those feasibility studies, an actual date that our chairman or our general manager can go home with and inform the rest of us. Please give us that one piece of information that we can hold on to and we can hold you accountable to, so that if that day passes, then we are free to go to court. Please give us that one date.
The gentleman behind you had raised the question first, but after Chile, you want Chile goes first? Either way. Maybe the lady can go first, then the gentleman can make his comments.
Okay, so for me, thank you everybody for all your amazing submissions. I think you've really put forward our ideas and our viewpoints very well. For me, the bottom line is I do not want a railway running right through the middle of our nice, quiet environment. We have a lovely community. I do not want a railway line through the middle of it. So please, do your feasibility studies, look for an alternative route. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And I think especially my colleague there, he raised one of the key points I had, was about the timelines. The least you can do, even if you cannot answer our questions, is commit to say 1 week, 2 weeks, you will respond to that, and also the minutes for this meeting. Yeah, and I believe minutes have to be sent back to us, and we actually accept. That is that, it's normally said, the true likeness, or something of a sort. And I think as a sign of goodwill, I will add requesting the previous minutes for the, is it 2 years ago? Just a sign of goodwill. I believe those should be sitting somewhere. And I almost want to ask who's taking the minutes. Yeah? Yeah, who's taking the minutes? I'm not done, but if you want to answer, you could go ahead. And the other thing is that you did mention, one of the two of you mentioned that any documents require, we can actually request. So my question is, because anyway, if you want to request something, you need to know what you're requesting. What is a list of those documents that you have that will be relevant to this that we can request? So that I know I say, I want your ID, I want your birth certificate, so that you can actually know what is the list of documents. And my request is that you actually tell us in this meeting what is the list of those documents, so that when our representatives are writing to you, can actually be able to specify we are writing to you requesting maybe for the feasibility or, I don't know, the master plan, just to mention out of courtesy. My other observation, I think I'm a person who's so much, and I can see my other colleagues here. I like to reference back to documents. I read documents a lot, out of fun, not that I'm a lawyer or anything like that, just for the fun of it. And there was a letter that was sent to us. I don't know whether it's a true letter that was forwarded to us that I believe was written by your MD, Managing Director, or at least he signed it. Yeah, and it did specify why this engagement. And I feel a lot of things have been pushed back, which were highlighted here. And it has 8 points. I will not read all of them, but I'll just refer to a few. Point number 4, discuss land acquisition, land use, resettlement, and other property-related considerations. So I was just wondering for this lady, because that's okay. I'm not affected at the moment, I never know. It might be, is it realigned? What was the what? Yeah? Yeah, at the moment I'm not affected, but it may be Yokitu. Yeah? So I was just wondering then, because the way you answered her question, why didn't you marshal the rest of the people? Or even have had them here so that you tell them, yeah, kuna mtu talk to the person, there is that person there and there. Why didn't you bring across, if it requires that coordination? Same thing with Kura, if it required that coordination, why didn't you come across together with the rest of these other people? Another point, number 3, gather technical and operational input relevant to the proposed railway development. So I'm assuming there is some technical, okay, I don't know, I'm not an engineer, so I don't know. I'm assuming this is somewhere. And I don't know whether a PowerPoint presentation like that really does justice. Maybe our engineers can be able to, but I don't think it does. And for me, who's more of a visual graphics person, the video that was given is really, for lack of a better word, it's inaitwa nini? Ile ina deflate. It deflates. Because I was expecting to see some details. Because for us who are not engineers, that is what we see. I will see the railway comes here, the station looks like this, the question the Matatu guy asked, you can be able to see there's going to be like, I don't know what is it called. I can drive my car, park there, or something of a sort. Because one of the questions I was asking myself when I was coming here is, if I'm coming from my house to this location, and there's this great investment being done, how is it going to help me? For example, maybe I'll take Nduthi, gets me to the stage, a Matatu then, a railway, etc. But I can't see how this railway is actually going to serve us. And for me, I'm actually somebody who loves any construction is happening. And I'll even say I'm in support of the railway. But not in the sense you want to do it. Because there are questions that have been raised, especially if you're talking about mass. For me, when you talk about mass, it's talking about carrying many people. And I start asking myself, is there even any way that that thing can go underground? Yeah? And only pops up where it needs to be. Yeah? It goes huko chini, bebe watu wengi, because that's how I visualize the mass. Yeah, so I think that's the thing then. Just to sum it up, but I feel that you have not followed the letter we got. And for me, it feels like one of those meetings where you are called so that you can set up another meeting. Yeah? So you are meeting so that we say, let's have another meeting. And that's really essential. And you might notice, this room was really full. Yeah? And when people came here, we all came to Kasema mpaka jioni. Yeah? We'll order Uber Eats. We'll sit here and thrash this thing out. But I don't think you've done any service to this. You've presented us back to what you presented St. Christopher 2 years back. Nothing new. Because for me, my expectation is that since you're already delivering this project, you had details. Not unless you're engineers, come some of us who are not engineers. Yeah? Like at the moment, I'm doing some landscaping somewhere. And I implement tukienda. Yeah? So I tell my guy, Ebu, pima makinya mbili, let's see. Does it fit? Apana. Rudisha kidogo. Not unless you're that kind of engineers. Yeah? The expectation is that you have detailed plans that will confuse all of us, apart from the real engineers. Some of us in engineers too kwa mjengo, yeah, na tape measure. But our expectation is that you will give us a lot deeper. And the same way, I know you have teams of communication, etc. We'll have served the rest of us with a better video. That is a lot more detailed. Even AI can do that for you. Yeah? If you give me the structural thing, I can do for you an AI one that will actually give a reflection. The kind of things our architects do when they're doing for us buildings, because we don't understand all those thingies they're telling us, whatever it is. But they take the time to do a way that you know you have different clientele to serve. So there are solutions. Because for me, I would have loved to be able to come here with a metro, probably be dropped at the corner, walk here for 3 minutes, and as I live here and I want to go down to Galleria, I'll take another one, yeah, to there, and still get back home without having to drive. Like, for example, I don't know, I'll probably find my car clamped, yeah, after I leave here, because there was nowhere proper to serve it, but I needed to be in this meeting and I was trying to keep time. So I think for me, essentially is, I don't see why your MD did a letter inviting us, and I even see it was CC'd to, what's it called? I think a project manager. You do have a project manager. It would have been courteous to have them present, because I saw the letter was copied to somebody. I can't find it. WhatsApp imepoteza, but somebody, you want somebody. So I think, and the last thing is to ask, as Kenya Railways, I think the right word, the right team would be, is it corporate affairs or community affairs? There's normally a team charged with engaging with the community. Because it's been a nightmare in terms of even being able to engage. Who do we talk to? The best we can do is write a letter to the MD. Nata hatujui ama zinafika. Yeah, because the same engineer Dory said he served a letter a few years back. A few other chairs have done that since then. No response. So I think the only thing that I'll ask in my short submission is just give us some timeline. Tell us, on this date, we'll get, well, these minutes, the previous minutes, and also what are those documents you've been working with for this project, the list of documents. I believe that you don't have to tell me, you have to go back. Yeah? So those two things, the date and the list of documents, so that we can actually know what are you requesting for. And my finalist thing is that as much as you're engaging with that as a corporate institution, realize the individuals within. So even as an individual, everybody else has a right to ask for information. So it's just that you are very fortunate. You find yourself in a situation whereby it's an organized group. You could have easily here been our own individuals, but just be able to be that courteous to know you have a system and a structure to take advantage of. And not go back. I liked what my colleague there reminded you. At the end of the day, you hold these seats. Many of us have held similar seats. But at the end of the day, you're a Kenyan, you're a citizen. One day you'll find yourself on this side of the table. I don't know what's the kind of experience or interface you want to provide. Thank you.
Thank you. For the sake of time, because we have progressed, I respond in a crossing manner in terms from our head, so that we come back again, or you take home whatever is able to, in terms of the way forward.
I really appreciate you taking your time to respond to our issues, but to help you, because I was in your seat, to help you, because these people, I'm part of them, we have raised our issues. First point of call, please forward the feasibility study, give us time to digest, we'll be able to work with you. Number two, the alternative routes, please expound on it, take a keen interest on it, see whether it is viable option for you guys. You don't need to ignore the other alternative routes suggested by the community. Number three, as you're doing, you're a Kenyan, you're a citizen, you're part of this society. When you leave this office, you'll be coming back to the same society. Think about our environment. See what happened to Nairobi National Park when you put the the SGR using chest. Most of our wildlife, they have gone away. Some have died. Some, they are migratory corridor. Those are some of the nature that doesn't talk. They talk in another way that you don't understand. So please, we don't hate you. It's only as concerned citizens, we are telling you, put yourself in our own shoes. Even when you are coming here, if you will have forwarded some documents for us to see, it will have been very important to know what we are discussing. But because we don't know what you are coming to study, that is why you see anger, agitation in our voice. If we have wronged you at a personal level, we are sorry, we don't mean it. The anger is addressed to your office, not to your individual. Please just know that. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Abdul. I hope I have gotten your name well. One, we are not agitated, and we do not feel offended in any way. We are doing what we are supposed to do, what we are paid to do. We are supposed to be providing this information and serving. So we have no hatred on anyone. And what I would say, apart from the questions that come from KRD or a larger groups, we also receive individual requests. And I want to comment that, although I don't want argument, the request that came from that Motero Mohoho Association, I know we did respond. Whether that letter reached you or not, maybe it's another issue. However, we did respond specifically to you. I know the other association that has asked is Kerea. We have also, and we also have, I don't want to mention names, the other individual affected persons who have come on board and we have been able to respond. So maybe one, there's a request on whether we can provide the minutes for this meeting or for this gathering. I want to suggest as follows, or to request as follows. For purposes of us even, because the document is circulated for signature, even the KRDA officials have not signed. So even okay. I related it, then still circulate as I proceed. So because it makes us possible for us to also even be able to escalate the issues to our seniors, also for the other activities that may come on board. So, but I want to go straight to respond to the issues raised. One, the activity we are carrying here is not just for a matter of ticking the box. Yes, of course, as much as the court would want us to tick the box, but not ticking the box is to address the impact or the issues raised. So we are not taking this one as a ticking the box. And that's why we did not come with the designs that had been firmed up for the line. Because we felt if we came and presented that, it would appear already we have a fixed position. So that's the whole essence, that the current detailed design that is available for that option, we did not provide them at this juncture, in this scenario. We wanted to hear the observations and also get to know what is these pain points or the issues that the community has been having. But we have had all that. Then the other thing is this feasibility or the project, we intended to conduct public participation in various places. In the morning, we started with Gando. Today, we are here at KLDA. Tomorrow, we intended to engage in Burbur with the community there, and also Gong. The following day is to proceed to Kiserian and Ogatarogai. Because for us, we are looking at it as a route, not as just adding here at, for example, the jurisdiction of KLDA. So that's the whole essence, why we still have to proceed with the other activities. With regard to the documents that you have requested, I know quite a number of documents have been requested in this forum. Specifically, the key thing here has been the feasibility study. I would say that is the anchor document. I have seen everybody farming up or asking. That document we shall be able to avail, the feasibility study for the project. Yes. Yes. Yes, we will not resubmit the master plan because we had already provided the master plan that you have seen. So what we shall be able to provide is a feasibility study. There are two versions with different options. There are two. There is the big feasibility study, the way it comes with the reports and all that, including its annexures. There is that version. There is also the version of the template. If you read the PFA Mark, there is that template that is there. So all those versions are there. We shall be able to provide them in due course. What I may not want to, I know, yes, I know the big question is when. No. Let me also respond. We have not been constructing after the court order came. The injunctions have come twice. There was a first injunction, we did stop. Then that injunction was lifted and we continued with the construction. Then there is this other one that has come. So in the two scenarios, we have not proceeded with any work. Say, for example, when the first injunction came, of course, machines were all over and there were pits dug everywhere. We explained that we could not desert the site and leave the pits as open as that. So we only did the work that we would say was to ensure at least the area is well secured for safety. But we did not proceed with any other activity. Cutting trees, I'm not aware we did cut trees later on. However, the photos, okay, thank you. Let me explain. I think, let me explain. Of course, when the project had started, we had gone to the affected persons, because then the key issue was the power lines. There was power lines running along. And when we went, of course, to Kenya Power, because Kenya Power had to reroute and redesign the power. And for that matter, we have paid Kenya Power already for those, we had paid Kenya Power then for purposes of that. So having them, so the information I have is the trees that they had cut was as a result of that aspect of the power lines. But since then, we have not proceeded. What I would say about power, given they had already temporarily done rerouting, maybe is a question of them stabilizing the supply and all that. However, we have not engaged them further with regard to continue cutting of trees. We have suspended all the works in terms of in comparison. However, of course, let me not dispute. I think let me just say is something we shall follow up from our end. Yes. I know Engineer Mogoja, my former director. You are really pushing for that date. I know you are a man of details, and you want the inexact date, just as you used to be, even when you are our board member. We shall provide that, but allow me, give me some latitude today not to give the date. However, the reports will be provided. But give me that freedom today, latitude, only not to give the actual date. Because if I give you a date tomorrow, you will hold me responsible if I plus or minus, particularly if it is a minus on the other end. But the reports will be availed. Rest assured of that. Thank you. It's only that the 90 days, I would say, of course, you have helped me to answer the question. The maximum day around is 90 days, which is effective 17th July 20 something this year. So of course, days have gone. So, but our intention is to comply and provide meaningful information to the KLD and the stakeholders early enough. The latitude they said is within the 90 days, but we shall have availed the document. Please allow me that. That's the only request that I have requested. Otherwise, this we shall be able to respond in detail the issues raised. I don't want to preempt, but we have had you, Bwana Abdul, the questions that you have raised. I have restricted myself to the project. Without commenting on the other comments you have made about the other network, the SGR and all that, I have restrained myself not to speak on that. But you are at will to have said whatever or is the concern you have raised. But mine is to appreciate We wanted to close unless there's a very, very burning issue that had not been raised.
That we couldn't have the participation that we were meant to be given from the very beginning, and that everyone else should have been given from the very beginning. So you just admitted here, you're only about to start talking with other people because you just realized that this is not going the way that people want.
Yes.
This is not going the way people want. And from the onset, what we have been asking for 2 years ago is this feasibility study so that we wouldn't be in this room having this argument, right?
Okay, let me wrap it up by saying discussion. We have had the request that has come on board. There are activities that had taken place. Of course, there is prayers that have come and all that, and there is findings that have been made by a competent institution. With regard to the adequacy of the area activities that had been taken. That's why we are here. That is not in doubt. There is allow me so that please allow me so that no. Yes. However, of course, I know there was a request by institution and maybe that is coming, that the communication came on Friday. On all.
This is a very sensitive matter. In that case, last time the county commissioner is here, you promised. Then you guys disappeared. You went and started construction. Can you promise us, as you look, I'm wearing glasses like you, can you undertake while you stand there to just make arrangements that you are not going to proceed in that project until you come back to us after giving us the feasibility study so that we now have a proper public participation? This is consultation.
This is not public participation.
Because last time you used the attendance register, you used the minutes, filed it in as a document, giving clearance, to start the work. That's why we have switched your memory. We never did. What happened is, I salute you, sir. We work. You moderated the session. And God has allowed you to be here with us. The fact bear witness. This is a serious matter. It's affecting. My land is directly affected. And I will go to court until you buy. So, you better operate. Look at the three options. Give us a visibility side for the three options. They will give a green light which you are running. If you must run.
We have heard him, but I think what we are saying, you know, expect is that all those documents, whatever you have said, we have heard you. And if we promise something that we did not provide in the past, maybe that's why we are here. Maybe if we provided that information you had requested, we would not be here. So life is continuous improvement. So having said that, I wanted to hand over back the mic to the DCC for him to assist us to close the session. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your presentations. In fact, I'm very happy to have this kind of a community. That's why we have been together all along. This is my 4th year, I think, and we have been always, on the right track with you. We have never, parted ways or maybe gone into kind of a disagreement. So today I concur with you. Whatever was discussed there was not implemented. And if now you are given the chance, you have aired also your views and presented to them. So my appeal is just to them that whatever has been raised as a concern by the residents to be maybe they escalate to their bosses and finally come back to the community and also sit with them. I know the community, these communities are very good people. They are not opposing, but what they want is just them to be brought on board and also to give some guidelines. So it is only that. Otherwise, don't assume that maybe they are trying to oppose the project or maybe they are trying to, see that this project of yours will fail. What they want is just, bringing them on board, doing everything together. So I think maybe since this is the second session I'm attending, of course, the other one I moderated. But for today, the moderator is the engineer. But all the same, I believe whatever was said today will be put into consideration with utmost, maybe, I should say, with utmost concern. And in that context, this meeting started while I was briefly out. I don't know whether we have started with the prayers. We did, eh? So I think we'll also close with a prayer. Isn't that good? Yes, so I think a volunteer, kindly, to volunteer. And I believe this is a very successful meeting and maybe will be implemented whatever is being raised. So a volunteer, engineer, you are the eldest, I think. Yes.
This requires prayers, actually. Thank you. Let us pray. Our Lord and God, we want to thank you this day, the 25th of August 2026. We thank you for the opportunity to meet as stakeholders with Kenya Railways and a government which we trust so much. We pray that the authorities listen to the voices of the public. We pray that whatever we have raised will grow this community and to grow our country. That our words and our communication will not be in vain. We want to pray for Kenya Railways as they undertake a difficult task of doing a feasibility study and satisfying the needs of the community. We pray that they consult widely, they get the experts, so that when we meet again, we shall be singing, talking the same voice. We thank you for the commissioner and his understanding, and all the workers from Kenya Railways who have been here. We pray that they note the concerns of the community and that they work knowing that the work they do is not just for their office, but for the entire community and the country at large. So we pray as we live that you protect us, you guide us, and bless us individually and communally and as a country. For we pray this trusting in Jesus' name. Amen.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Welcome.